My Jeep Grand Cherokee 2005 with the Hemi 5.7 engine. This is the problem I have is the ABS and skid control light are on with some check braking system, electric brake. So let's look and see. I turn it on, crank it up, it goes out, but it comes right back in. You see the ABS and the skid control. Don't worry about the tire pressure and the other lights, but it says service electric brake system, and then it will say check service four-wheel drive system. So those are the alarms, and there's no code in there, diagnostic code. So I had a DTC code of U1418, and what that is it's the sensors on the right side. One of them is possibly bad. This is the sensor, wheel speed sensor, for the right side, the passenger side. And one of the things, you're supposed to see a range of resistance on these two leads. Now I've got them clipped right here to the alligator lead, to the test leads, and I'm reading no short. If you start seeing resistance flashing and coming in, possibly, see, I just took this and bent it and it went away. There's a open or something wrong inside the cable. So you just move it around and you can see, but you don't have to do this. Once you see this, no resistance, that is a problem. And I'm just showing you what a bad one looks like. And so, see there? Right in there somewhere, these cables have to flex with the wheel going up and down and the suspension. So after many years of bending and flexing, they'll go bad. Now here's what our one that's good, and I ordered a set of 4 wheel sensors for my Jeep Grand Cherokee 05, and this is what I got. And now I'm going to show you what a good one looks like. There's the 2 pins in there. I collect, let's see, I want to get this one on first because it's hard to get in there. Okay, if you see, I have 702 ohms. That's a good reading, and it's not flexing back and forth, so I am good with that. That's a brand new one, so I don't have to worry about it. But you saw this other one is bad. I have it replaced. I'm going to go over and show you what's necessary for you to do to change out the wheel sensor. Okay, let's go over to the right front wheel. Okay, I'm going to give you an overall look of the wheel sensor, speed sensor, and this is the sensor right here. Let me just kind of pick up and let right there. That's a 5 millimeter Allen screw that holds it in place, and it's routed up through here, down around, and all these little connectors come with it that push in and hold it in place. And right there is where it connects in to the leads going back to the computer. So the signals from the wheel speed sensor pickup unit, they travel along here and up to the computer, and it tells how fast this is spinning. So that's the main thing of it. If it's open and not no conductivity, then it can't read this, and that's what gives you the ABS amber alarm. So I'm thinking when I put this, I've changed this out, I'm going to do away with my ABS alarm. Okay, to get to this, it's behind this shield, and the rotor is in the way. So you have to take the rotor off, and it's probably the hardest thing. You have to beat on it and pry. You have to take some kind of a pry bar, put it behind here, pry, and at the same time bang with a hammer at various locations until it finally will release. So hey, have some balance, because when it releases you're going to go flying backwards, so be ready for that. Okay, once you've got that off, then you can replace that, and you have to take the whole wheel caliper assembly off. I took the whole mounting frame off. You don't have to separate it, and it'll come right off. When it's in this configuration, don't go in and step on the brake, or you're going to end up moving these caliper pads, the brake pads in, and it's not going to go back on. You're going to have to pry those things out with a C-clamp. So when it's like this, don't go in and touch the brake pedal. Okay, so that's all I had to do. It wasn't that bad. Like I say, the rotor is the hardest thing on this particular one. And this is a 05 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4-wheel drive. All right, these are the 2 bolts that hold the unit and the caliper on, and it's a looks like a 15. No, it's a 21 millimeter bolt holds those on. So it's not a bad job to do if you can manage to get the rotor off, but be prepared for that. Now I'm going to let you see how I put it back on. And oh, with this little thing up here, there's a little slide red cap. You've got to slide that up and then push on this back edge, and it will raise up a little piece of plastic that has a hole in it, and in this there's a little bump up there that it catches behind. So you got to push back on this and it'll raise it up above that notch, and then you can wiggle it out. So that's got to be done. There's that little notch right there. If you can see that little notch right there, that's what this little plate, and that's a protective slide cover, that red slides over to keep that from lifting up. So you have to slide that up, and you can take it all the way out if you want and get it out of the way, and then squeeze on this while you're pulling, and this pulls out from this right here. This right here is back behind there, so you can pry that out to get access. All right, now we're going to put this back together. So now that I've got everything taken care of, put my rotor back on, and I carefully pop it on. Now, it goes back on easy, and you just kind of push on it. Now, I didn't show you this, but with a little tool, a dental tool, this is a rubber O-ring. It goes in this little groove that's down in here, so you got to kind of bang this back in place. Whoop. Until you got the groove. There's the little groove, but I'm going to okay. Once that's in place, this little groove here, this is to keep water from getting in there, and you got to put it back on, and so just wrap her around and just roll it on. Then kind of take your fingernails and just kind of push it in. Make sure it's in all the way around. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There. You can take your brake caliper or the rotor on, okay, and slowly line those up. Pop it right on. That might be a little snugger than mine, but go down here and find the hole alignments on the back side. And you notice I didn't let this hang by the brake cable because that's bad. So I line up the holes and get her started. Get a few threads on it. And I get the top one first. Maybe a little easier. And if you just pull the weight off, you can kind of get it to where it'll really go in there. There's the two bolts that hold this whole frame on, brake caliper frame. Okay, I got her going. So now I'm gonna tighten her. Okay, now get her back on there. Okay, good and tight. Okay, caliper is in place, and now I'm ready to get the wheel back on. Okay, I checked the resistance on the rear right sensor, and it also was fluctuating resistance. When you'd move the cable, you'd see changes all over the place. If that's the case, it's got to be replaced. So 10 millimeter on this one, that's a little different, but it's easier to get to. Just take the wheel off and just unscrew this, and we'll be able to pull that out. Okay, and I just grab this and okay, here's a little small screwdriver, and I can just kind of put it in there and wiggle it. Just kind of wiggle it like that. That's doing it. Because there's a seal in there that, there, it's coming out. And then just, my hand's in the way, but there. Pry up on. Yeah, like that. See, just slowly. And I'll get over here a little bit more, up on top of that. I'm going to get a heavier screwdriver. It needs a little heavier persuasion. Okay, here. Okay, let's see. You just got to kind of keep working at it. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's see if the channel locks will get it. Yeah, that's what you're gonna need, is some channel locks and wiggle and twist. See, it's got these rubber areas that keeps it in there. Okay, now I'm just going to drop that down, and here's the other one already plugged in, but I'm going to go ahead and get what I can get right here. This goes in this little clip right there, and then this one comes out of this clip right there. So that's the old one. Then this one is going to go right in there. There. And then this little baby goes right in here like this. Oh, look at there. It goes in easy. Okay. And then take the little bolt, and it'll only go one way. You can't make a mistake. Okay. Now, the right side of my Jeep has new wheel speed sensors, and that should correct my problem, because both of them were showing bad. Forgotten. 10. I'll just give it a snug run, and then this is I got to go up underneath there and put that those two little rubber plugs in the holes up in the top of the vehicle. I have completed the wheel sensors on the right side of the vehicle, the passenger side. I've installed new ones in both front and rear, and I came out, started the engine, and my ABS was still in. Well, after reading up on this, I found that you have to run the vehicle a couple of times down the highway. It has to determine that it's getting a signal from those wheel sensors. And sure enough, the light went out shortly after I started driving. So don't be alarmed if you get in the vehicle after replacing everything and you still have the light to come on. You have to have a tool to reset the DTC code, and if you don't have that, it will automatically reset after a few start and stops of the engine. So let's crank her up, and there it goes out. That is a wonderful feeling.